When we feel the world pushing back on us, what is our response? Good morning. My name is Father Frank Buckley. I'm the host of our morning meditation group. Welcome. Delighted you are here from all parts of the globe. It's a beautiful Friday morning in Hollywood. If you're new to the program, it's a very simple program, 3 parts. We begin with a little inspiration. Hi, Craig. We then jump into the deep end. We do a 20-minute silent meditation, which is good for the body, the mind, the spirit. And then we always end, rather than jumping up and moving into our day, we just take a moment to trust Socrates' words, the unreflected life is not worth living. As St. Ignatius would encourage us to do, we look back over our last few days and notice where we found God or areas where we might have missed God. We try to cultivate an attitude of gratitude and bring that unconditional love that God offers each of us into the world. So, for the inspiration this morning, I have drawn something, a poem that I really love. I'm going to draw from Albert Camus, The Plague, and I think you will really enjoy it. For those of you who don't know, Albert Camus was an Algerian writer living in France during and following the Nazi occupation. So he was no stranger to difficult times. He was brought up by proletariat parents and active in journalism during a fascinating chapter of history. He contributed to the world a sea of philosophical writings for all of his 47 years. He was actually killed in a car accident. In 1957, he became the second youngest recipient of the Nobel Prize in Literature. The poem that I would like to share with you this morning is one that has been loved by so many for years. It is a poem that helps us appreciate the idea that we can nurture within ourselves a wellspring of joy, health, and light. Just a deliberate sort of well-being and faith. This is what Lazy W. Marie reflects on Camus. So now I'd like to move right into the poem. Take a minute just to settle in. And Camus writes this. My dear, in the midst of hate, I found there was within me an invisible love. In the midst of tears, I found there was within me an invisible smile. And in the midst of chaos, I found there was within me an invincible calm. I realized through it all that in the midst of winter, I found there was within me an invincible summer. And that makes me happy. For it says, no matter how hard the world pushes against me, within me there is something stronger, something better, pushing right back. Thank you, Albert Camus, for those words of inspiration. Within each of us is this capacity to push back, to come alive, to wake up. I don't know any better way to come in contact with waking up than through the silence, the turning inwards of meditation. What a perfect segue to move into our meditation. As always, I invite you to find a comfortable seat. Turn off all technology. Don't worry about the timer. I've got my timer set for 20 minutes. So just unplug. If you'd like, you can gently close the eyes or 3/4 closed. Take the attention to the heart. Consciousness is always vertical. We engage our sacred word and repeat it several times. Take the attention to our breath and just enjoy a little deep rest. Let's begin. Listen, listen. The sound of the beautiful bell returns us to our true home. As always, we begin with 3 diaphragmatic breaths, that is, breathing deeply as possible into the lower belly 3 times. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. 2 more times. Inhale and exhale, bringing fresh oxygen to the brain and the body. Last time, give it all you got. Inhale and exhale. Take the attention to the breath. God is as close to us as this very air that we breathe. Please continue to breathe on your own. Gently bring your attention back to the room. If your eyes were closed, go ahead, open the eyes. You can circle the wrists, shake out anything you've been holding on to. And as I said earlier, rather than jumping up, we'll just do a little examine this morning. I'm looking, it looks like a full room this morning. So we'll do, I mean, come on, it's Friday. Let's do something a little fun in the examine. One thing I loved about St. Ignatius is he really believed with all his heart that God was an active agent and decisive character, not only in the world, but in our lives. And he again and again would go back to this place of gratitude. So for our examine on Fridays, I like to change it up just a little, and feel free to write this on Facebook. You can put it in your comments, but just let's look over the week. Today's Friday, we're getting ready for the weekend. And just notice as you look over the week, 3 things that went well, where God moved around in your life and you came alive. And the great thing with this, Ignatius didn't even know about neuroscience, but the great physicist Hebs said that neurons that fire together wire together. So as we kind of start notice where we come alive, we get those neurons firing and we get those ruts developed and they start happening more. I mean, who doesn't want to be alive, right? So the other interesting thing is with this neurons that fire together, wire together, is it doesn't matter whether it's big or small. Just having a delicious sip of this green tea fires the neurons the same way as if I went across the street to 7-Eleven and won the lottery. So big or small, let's just name 3 things that went well this week where we notice God alive and moving in our lives. So for me, let's start with that first one was a delicious cup of green tea. It's so good for you. It's almost hard to believe, and it tastes delicious. The second is I did this kind of immersion program, and as a result of it, I've gone a little deeper back into therapy, and I was able to connect with homeboys, and am going to be able to do therapy with two of the guys from Homeboys, which is very exciting for me. And then last happened right before this meditation, right before this group. Um, this is at the center, the former convent, and Chris, who is in charge of volunteers and getting all the food together. When I walked in the door, she said, "Oh, Father Frank, great news. We've got tons of delicious food prepared for the food pantry tomorrow on Saturday." So I can't think of a better way to go into the weekend than that. Um, I invite you to just jot down, share. We're trying to build a little community and isolation. Just 3 things that went well for you this weekend. And thank you for tuning in this week with us. I would encourage you over the weekend to keep the contemplative practice going, if nothing less than starting your day by breathing 10 times. If you can do the 20 minutes in the morning and in the afternoon, so much the better. Uh, I'm so grateful we are all in each other's lives. Have a beautiful weekend. God bless you.